Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Ramsey, and I am joined by Lawrence Galante, who is presenting a 2-hour on Sunday, August 13th in the 2 p.m. time slot. He's going to be talking about homeopathy and hypnosis. And the subtitle on that is Holistic Energy Healing. How are you, Lawrence?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Hey, we've never met before. Tell me how you got into hypnotism.
Hypnotism. Well, I was into body work, and I was doing a lot of shiatsu and massage and stuff like that. And a good friend of mine who was also into a lot of this stuff, he said, hey, this speaker is coming to New York. His name is Grinder, and it's his first time in New York, and he's supposed to be great. You want to come? So I said, sure, I'll come along. And
Wow.
it was a 3, maybe 5-day lectures with Grinder, and he introduced me to NLP.
Yep.
And I realized quickly that it was really just a kind of hypnosis. So I was kind of hooked after that 5-day meeting. So I wanted to learn more. So I found out that there was a national guild, and I took the teacher's course. Well, I took the regular course first, then I took the teacher's training, and it's been hypnosis ever since, as well as other stuff.
I was going to say, so it sounds like you've got a lot of diversity. Tell me more about that. How many different things do you do today?
Well, I still teach and practice hypnosis. I've been practicing more than teaching lately because, well, it's a long story. So I do hypnosis. I do homeopathy. I do body work, which is like mostly polarity and Reiki.
Okay.
I used to do shiatsu, which I sort of stopped, in massage. I kind of stopped doing that. So I just do the energetic body work now. Polarity is a very interesting thing. It's a 3-year certification,
Wow.
very much like Reiki, except Reiki is like 3 weekends. Polarity is 3 years, and it's based on Indian, Chinese, and Egyptian medicine.
Wow. So what's your...
I teach Tai Chi and Kung Fu.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And Qigong.
Holy moly. So tell me about, like, what's your clientele like these days? I mean, it must be pretty diverse as well, but what are you mostly helping people with?
I think mostly hypnosis, and I do have a lot of private Tai Chi people as well. I teach at a university where I do teach Tai Chi.
Oh, cool.
And Kung Fu.
That's cool.
I'd say my clients are mostly hypnosis and homeopathy.
So you've got a lot of different things that you've learned, a lot of different things that you've trained in and been certified in. And out of all the things you know, a lot of years of doing this kind of work, you chose to present on homeopathy and hypnosis, holistic energy healing. Why that topic? Why is that topic important to you?
Well, first of all, it's kind of interesting. Like when I started doing Tai Chi, hardly anyone in the United States knew what Tai Chi was. When I started hypnosis also, I mean, people just thought of it as magic shows and a lot of mumbo jumbo and something possibly satanic. And homeopathy but I think these other modalities have now come into their own in the United States. But homeopathy is still relatively unknown. I first came across it when I went to India. I was at an ashram in India seeing Sai Baba, who was this holy man in India, and I was writing my master's thesis on spirituality and mysticism. And so actually this guy came to me in a dream, told me to come see him and write my thesis on him. Then he sent me the money to come. So I went to India for 3 months and spent 3 months with Sai Baba. And I saw a lot of miraculous things. But while I was there, an American had just come out of the Western hospital for Crohn's disease, and he wasn't being helped, and someone suggested there's a homeopath down the road. Now, India's got probably more homeopaths than any other country.
Okay.
And so I walked with him. He needed someone to go with, an American. And we went to see this guy, and by the time this homeopath gave him these little sugar pills, And by the time we got back to the hotel where he was staying, it was actually the ashram. It was a room he was staying in. His symptoms were gone. So I said, wow, this is really fascinating. And I got to check it out when I get back to the States, which I was doing the next week. And when I got back to the States, synchronistically, this woman who I'd been going out with, who was a nurse, had just signed up for a course in homeopathy, a
Oh,
10-week course. So I signed up with her, and we both took it, and I think we've both been hooked since. And subsequently, I became the director of a homeopathic college that opened up in the New York area. I was the director for 7 years. And the whole idea was to teach Americans what homeopathy is, because it's very vast throughout Europe and throughout South America and Mexico and Canada and almost everywhere except in the United States.
right.
So I wanted to educate people on it. And I was really hooked because it's a wonderful modality of healing. And it can heal a lot of chronic diseases that Western medicine can only palliate.
That's cool. So for people who are thinking about coming and spending these 2 hours, knowing that maybe many of them are not as diverse in their learning and their practices as you are, and there, and you've got this listed as an all levels workshop. Maybe a newly certified hypnotist or only recently certified hypnotist. Where's the value for them in coming in and spending this 2 hours, based on what you'll be teaching? How will it help them go back and get better results with their clients when they head home after the convention?
Well, it's kind of like both a self-healing and you can help your clients type of thing, because I'm going to look at some of the conditions that hypnotists come in contact with. For example, grief, shock, sadness, things like that we often come across. And there are remedies that you can suggest to the people, although you shouldn't pretend you're a doctor and prescribe, but
Right.
you can point out that there are remedies, safe, effective, non-toxic, FDA-approved, over-the-counter remedies that have helped people with this and that condition, and they are free to go for $5 or $5 or $6. You can go to your local health food store and pick up these very famous remedies now for, let's say, for grief.
Mm-hmm.
Someone dies, there's a breakup, someone can't get over it. And for $5 or $6, they can try this remedy. It'll either help them or it will do nothing, but it will not hurt them.
Right. Yeah.
And it will not interfere with any drugs that they're presently taking. And what homeopathy is it gives tiny micro doses. In fact, it's submolecular doses. In fact, many medical doctors in the United States poo-poo it because they say, well, it's too dilute. It can't possibly do anything. But homeopathy believes that it can actually activate the immune system, so that once the immune system is activated, then that kicks in and that helps the body heal itself.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it has to be the correct remedy for the right person. In other words, the difference with Western medicine is, like, we will see a condition and we will give everyone the same drug, let's say. The most common drug, we'll give it to everybody. But in homeopathy, it is individually prescribed, even if 10 people have the same condition. That being said, there are, for example, let's say in grief, there's like one drug that can often help like 80% of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell people what that one homeopathic remedy is.
Okay.
You can call it a drug or not, because it's submolecular. Doctors usually don't want to call it a drug, and homeopaths don't like to call it a drug because it's not a drug in the conventional sense.
Right. How do you, I want to come back to your example of grief, because I have no familiarity with homeopathy. So forgive my ignorance. I'm just trying to clarify for myself. How do you, as a practitioner, how do you decide someone comes to you with grief? How much of your solution comes from that homeopathic side versus the hypnosis side? I mean, your title suggests that you're working with both, right? So,
Yes.
like, you know what I mean?
Well, I first of all, I don't think the client cares which one helped them. For example, if they do both,
Good clarification. Good, thank you. Yeah, I agree with
and
that.
so long as they feel better,
Yeah.
and they can soon find out. For example, if I tell them the way this remedy is taken is you take this very tiny dose every day, and if you want to see if it's working or not, you can stop it. And if you start feeling bad again, and then you go back to it, you start feeling better again, then you can decide for yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one way. But as to, usually people come requesting, in other words, they come for homeopathy or they come for hypnosis. So if they
Okay.
come for hypnosis,
Okay.
I'll do the hypnosis and I'll tell them, and by the way, there's a remedy that often helps this condition. And if you'd like, you can try it. And this is the remedy. This is how you take it.
Cool. Cool.
But I don't push it on anyone. And I usually give people what they come
Yeah,
for
sure. What they ask for.
firstly, you know.
Cool. So you're just to recap, you guys. So we're talking about Sunday, August 13th in the 2 p.m. time slot. And the learning objectives are to understand what homeopathy is, right? Get you started with your basic understanding there. And then how you can combine homeopathy with hypnosis to help your clients improve their physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
That's correct.
So tell me
Now,
about, can you give me a story or sort of a light bulb moment where, as you were developing through this practice for yourself, where, you know, this idea of combining them really helped accelerate your results or get you to get better results for folks?
well, I have in my whole life, I've kind of evolved. Like I used to, the first thing I studied in martial arts was karate, for example. That's a hard martial art.
Yeah.
Now I do mostly Tai Chi, which is a soft, more energetically based martial art. I was also a chemist. I worked for many years as a chemist. And now I kind of do alchemy. Homeopathy is considered like an alchemy. And it's in its ancient forms, it is derived from alchemy. And the idea in alchemy is to, of course, change lead into gold, but that's just a metaphor for one thing, taking poisons and turning them into medicines.
Right.
And of course, taking the material man and transforming him into a spiritual being.
Yeah.
And and massage, I started with heavy massage, and now I do this polarity, which is this energetic stuff. So in my whole life, I've been sort of evolving into a more sublime level of healing. So I'll come back to your original. What was your original?
Oh, that I get. That's important front loading, though. I get that. Yeah, that's cool.
Right. So now with myself, for example, I had a medical condition, and I worked at NYU Medical Center for a while as a chemist, and for many years, in fact, I worked there. And I had an eye condition, which took 2 years. The Western doctors told me it'll take 2 years for this condition to be helped. It's a 2-year treatment. And after 2 years, if it doesn't work, it's incurable.
Okay.
I did it for 2 years. It didn't work. I took this homeopathy course. And at the end of this 10-week course, they asked for volunteers to be patients in the course so that the other students can see the results. And in 2 months, it was totally cleared up using homeopathy. Now, that was a physical condition.
Yeah.
It also works on physical, mental, or emotional conditions. And it is truly a holistic system of medicine. Now, people say, like we often say, like hypnosis is holistic. But actually, technically, It is not, because holistic means it treats physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Right.
Well, we treat on a mental and emotional level mostly.
Right.
We don't treat syphilis, for example,
Right.
hypnosis, right?
Yeah.
But you can treat syphilis with homeopathy, and you can treat grief with homeopathy. So there's a whole wider range. It is truly the most holistic, or as holistic as you can get. Let's put it that way. I think other modalities are holistic as well, not only homeopathy. For example, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, stuff like that, because those are awful to take. These are, and I've taken them, and they've been very helpful.
Yeah.
But to drink those herbs is something
Yeah.
you wouldn't wish on a child, for sure, and not even on an adult. Whereas homeopathy is always put on sugar pills, and children love to take it. Adults can take it with no problem.
It's cool. It's so cool. Hey, if people want to learn more about you and what you do, what's a good way for them to do that?
Well, my website is Center for Holistic Arts is holistic-arts.com. So it's holistic-arts.com.
Okay.
There's a small bio and stuff. There's some interviews I've done on the web. Kate's Holistic Healing, where I talk about hypnosis, homeopathy. And Kate is a very interesting, she was not able to walk. She had a type of thing where she was in a wheel, she had to walk with a walker. And she's a relatively young woman, I mean, maybe in her 50s. And for years she's been in that walker. And I met her. I gave her a homeopathic remedy, and now she walks without a walker. And she proudly shows this on the interview. So she's a hypnotist.
Oh, cool.
That's how she got involved. That's how I met her, actually, through
that's
hypnosis.
awesome.
And the hypnosis, she says, helped her a great deal in her struggle.
Good.
So there are many, many stories, cases that I could give you. Everything from a cold to AIDS. You know, I've seen people in cancer, and I've seen people improve and get much better with homeopathy.
Great. All right, you guys, that's it. If you think that, you know, what you've heard from Lawrence about this topic is the right fit for you, you've got this 2-hour on the 13th at 2 p.m. You got a way to follow up with Lawrence if you have any more questions. And, you know, this is what we go to the convention for, right? Is to discover new things and spend time with people who've put in all this time and energy so that you can accelerate your learning curve. That's what we're really looking for at the convention, is to get in and accelerate our learning curve so we can be more effective in an efficient way. So, Lawrence, thank you for making this time for me. I'm really grateful.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, be well. Pleasure.